Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I'm going to do the Nakshatras of the planets in Adolf Hitler's chart. And I'm pretty much an amateur when it comes to the Nakshatras. I don't have them memorized. I got to look at sites and read them. I got to write it all down and search for it. So I'm pretty much a beginner when it comes to Nakshatras. I look at my own. I still don't have those memorized, but they still make sense in my own chart. Also my education is more focused on the birth chart right now, still understanding it logically, intuitively. So yeah, we'll see how this goes. So I wrote down some notes right here, so I'm going to be looking at that because I'm an amateur. So yeah, we're going to start with the his third house, and we'll go around. So his moon, first of all, is in the Purvashadha nakshatra in the first pada. And this nakshatra is ruled by Venus. And Venus is all about relationships, the harmony with people. And he's got the moon here. This nakshatra is also, it's about creativity and expression through the arts, through media. And we see that his moon's in his third house. So third house is about communicating through media. It's about writing as well. But he's got this Venus energy on his moon. So there's that emotional connection. He really wants to express himself. He's very passionate about expressing himself through through media. I don't know if he was artistic or anything, but this nakshatra is what takes the energy of the planet. It wants to express itself through art and media, and it's a very pure form of Venus. So it really wants to really get that emotional connection, that pure form of nurturing energy towards other people when it's being expressed. And he's also got his Jupiter. He's got his Jupiter in this same nakshatra, but it's in the same pada as well. And Jupiter's in its own sign here too. So it really should really help boost that ability to express something in a positive way. Express his creativity, express that purest, highest spirituality, highest philosophy, highest wisdom through his communication. But it wasn't happening with him. So, and then we got his Ketu. His Ketu is in the same nakshatra, but it's in the third pada. So the third pada is really taking it in more deeper into relationships with other people, where he really wants to express this creativity, his expression through the arts and through media. So it's a very positive, energetic connection that he has with this nakshatra, with these planets. However, we know how he was. And like I had said before in my other video, like this is a very intuitive kind of a person. There's a lot of intuition, a lot of psychic ability right here being expressed through this third house of communication, through the sign of Sagittarius, wanting to spread spirituality and wisdom. We got this Ketu here. This malefic aspect of Ketu is really what messed him up in that life. It brought the narrow-mindedness. It brought his own view of philosophy and spirituality and how to express it to other people. There wasn't that purification. It was just his more strict, focused, one-sided view of how to do that. And so let's move over to this seventh house where he's got all these four planets over here. So we got his Mercury. His Mercury is in the Ashwini nakshatra. It's in the second pada. So the Ashwini nakshatra is all about like a shaman, a healer to the gods. This is like somebody who's really out there helping people, whether it's physically or psychologically. He's bringing a healing kind of an energy to somebody. And Mercury has that healing energy too. Doctors, nurses, those types of people. The Ashwini is ruled by the planet Ketu, so it's really taking the consciousness into the other world, into other deeper states of consciousness, way up there into the higher realms. This is why it brings that energy down to the earth, and it helps to heal people. Um, when it's in the second pada, it's more making somebody. Let's say when it's in the first pada in the sign of Aries, it's really somebody who's really taking action on healing people. It's not really stopping to think about doing it. It just goes out and helps people out. When it's in the second pada, somebody's a little more thinking. They're thinking before they take the action, before they go and help people. So, as a leader in his life, we can see, this person, he was really planning things out, on how he thought he could help people. It's supposed to bring a balance, kind of an approach to the way he goes out and benefits other people. Then we got his sun. His sun is also in the Ashwini Nakshatra. However, it's in the Pada 3, the section 3. And this one, it really takes that energy of the healing energy, where he really wants to communicate it. He really wants to better other people's lives. He wants to be like a life coach to people. How to eat better, how to be more physically active. Sun is exalted in the sign of Aries, so it's bringing that leadership quality. He really wants to communicate his ideas to other people. It's in the 7th house of communication too. These sound like positive things, but it just didn't happen in this guy's life. So we got the Mars. Mars is in the Bharani Nakshatra, and it's in the Pada 4. Venus is also in the same Nakshatra and the same Pada. So we got this Nakshatra Bharani is ruled by Venus as well. And Venus, again, it's about relationships, harmony with other people, the connection to the physical world, enjoying the pleasures of the three-dimensional body. And so this nakshatra is really about taking in other people's energy, their concerns, soaking them into the person. And, they really want to help. They want to help these people with their problems. They're really taking it in. And, this Mars energy is really, wanting to take that action towards helping other people out. But it's really getting a lot of energy, being in the sign of Aries, its own sign. And, it can easily overpower other people. In this 4th pada, it's also being very investigative. And, just like the Mars energy, it wants to go inside of things and look inside and look in the darkness, open things up and see what's going on. And then it wants to express that darkness through creativity. And this also could bring, the 4th pada brings an interest in the occult. And, we see that with him. He's very interested in getting that out there, expressing that to other people. And, it's very martial, that energy of, he's just really straightforward with expressing that with this through the Mars energy. And as far as the Venus being in that same nakshatra, Venus is about the relationships with other people. That same thing, he's taking in this energy of other people and, having his own view of how to express it, how to help other people out through creativity. And again, it sounds like another positive kind of a thing, but that didn't happen with him as well, with that one. And Venus has the least amount of say in this house. Mercury has the most, but I talked about that before. Sun and Mars really have the most say in this 7th house. And let's move over to Rahu. We got Rahu. Rahu is in the Punarvasu Nakshatra. It's in the 1st pada. And that ruler is Venus, which again sounds like a really good, powerful thing. This nakshatra is all about returning to the source. It's really going, way up into that higher consciousness, being ruled by Jupiter. It's supposed to be connecting someone to some super positive spiritual wisdom, positive philosophy, teaching it to other people. And again, this nakshatra is supposed to, it gives the focus on other people's well-being. What do I got here? It's about nurturing people, and there's that emotional connection to that through this nakshatra. Jupiter's, this nakshatra is in its own house as well, in the 9th house. It's in the sign of Gemini, so it really wants to communicate that to everybody. Rahu, Rahu being in this nakshatra, Rahu again is also an expansive kind of energy. It brings that worldly desire, it wants to spread it to the entire world. Rahu also corrupts, so this concern with other people, it can be corrupted, he wants to share his philosophy, his own view of philosophy, spirituality with other people. He's got his moon here too. Aspect of the moon is very bringing that emotional connection to what he believes in. The Jupiter too. Jupiter again, aspecting its own house, aspecting its own nakshatra, should be helping, should be controlling this Rahu, but it's not. It's more giving him, that hope and positivity into what he believes in, his delusional Rahu corruption that happened, spreading his own spiritual views and all that. So that's what's that one. And then we got the last one here. We got Saturn. Saturn in its own house in the 10th house. Saturn is in the nakshatra of Aslesha in the Padatu, and this is the ruler of Mercury. And when we get Saturn here, this is really it brings like a lot of confusion with expressing emotions. I mean, I talked about this whole as Saturn being in this 10th house with Cancer before, so it's kind of the same thing. It's really bringing confusion because that Mercury energy is over here ruling the it's in the sign of Cancer, so it's really the emotions are connected, but Mercury's intellect, it's making the person really think a lot about expressing themselves. Their need, they're getting confused. Should I say this? Should I say that? And it's the planet Saturn that's in this nakshatra, which brings that fear, that anxiety. Which brings that unconfidence. It's in the 10th house of his reputation. The Mars aspect, bringing even more anger. So there's this need for this Saturn to really focus its emotions. It really needs to, it needs a positive energy of Saturn, that organization, patience, and the well planned out kind of energy too. I mean, maybe we can say this guy he was planned out and organized, but it wasn't to help benefit anybody. So this all this fear and anxiety can really bring a corruption as well into his reputation with other people. Bing! Sounds like my food's ready. So yeah, those are the nakshatras. I encourage you guys to do your own research if you're interested. Like I said, I'm pretty much an amateur with the nakshatras. And so that's it for the nakshatras. And I went out into go hiking this morning. There's just nobody out there. The whole city is just quiet. It's like a ghost town out here with this coronavirus. It was really cool that there's nobody out there, though. I mean, it was really easy to go into an altered state of consciousness, meditating, doing qigong. Usually I could hear, in the distance, human voices here and there, cars. I couldn't hear nothing today. That was really nice. But, really, there's a lot of fear in the air about this whole thing that's going on. But that's one positive thing. If you go out into nature, it's really cool. You can really get into a deep state of mind. Like usual, I have these squirrels and chipmunks, and I had a bird just come up within a foot of me, just hopping over to me and looking at me. A really small little bird. I had a squirrel too, another 3 feet away from me, just checking me out. The chipmunks too, they're looking at me. Had some birds fly by me. It's so quiet, I could hear the flapping of their wings. There's, but it's really fast. When they're really flapping their wings fast. So that was really cool. But if anybody's interested in getting the Thunder Astrology readings or 12 House readings or 9 World Rune readings, just go to greg.thunderwizard.com. And I'll talk to you guys later. Peace.